Hello, my name is Svitek, and welcome to my weekly vlog. And the intent, if you're just joining me for the very first time, is not necessarily for me to just kind of spout about what's been happening in my life. Yes, I do that, but it's in hopes of illustrating various lessons that I've learned and the lessons that I teach through my other videos and so forth, and kind of humanize them, right? Personalize these lessons through my own experiences so that way you draw inspiration. Perhaps there's other things that, I might come up with that I don't share on the other stuff. So all in all, it's meant to help educate you and also inspire you. So one thing that I've been thinking a lot about as I head into this week, we start production on my feature film. And when you go into something like that, obviously there's a lot of pressure, but you want to stay healthy. Because if you're not healthy, then you're not thinking clearly. Obviously you want to stay healthy, right? And with flu season right around the corner and a lot of people that I know that are getting sick, staying healthy has been on my mind. So sleeping and eating correctly, not being stressed, getting exercise, all that stuff is at the very forefront of my mind. I'm not one to believe in pills or anything like that. I think obviously you got to get your vitamins and things like that, but I always like to get them from foods rather than supplements and so forth. So I've been thinking a lot about that and just trying to maintain my health in that sense. Also, just a quick tip in general. For sleep, I recommend an eye mask. I have one from Target that wasn't that expensive. I think it was $10, and it blocks so much sunlight. It's very comfortable. It's not like the airplane eye mask that they give you. This one is very comfortable and so forth. So whether Target, I'm sure Bed Bath & Beyond sells these types of things. It really does a great trick for me, and I can get a restful night's sleep, and certainly that helps with staying healthy. So speaking of heading into production, now we're at the finer details of various things, making sure all the props are all set, making sure everyone knows where they need to be and when, making sure nothing is overlooked in terms of the script, how we're going to shoot it. Having a shot list, and there's a great video that I did how I always like to start with a line script in order to make my shot list, and so I would highly recommend that video. But overall, for me, the creative aspect of shooting is very much seeing the actors and their dynamics. So I always like to allow the actors to go forth and me just capture it. It's my documentary background in that sense. So, and kind of, it brings me back to the days when I hung out with my friends. I used to shoot everything, and it's not like I tell them, hey, let's retake that and so forth. No, I very much had to kind of capture it in the moment and through editing and so forth, make it interesting. Or they would just have to be interesting, right? And so I'm kind of going back to those roots in some sense and just saying, here's the scene, here's how you act it, we'll get it. We'll have a couple cameras on you guys, but overall, it'll just be one take, set up again. So two different setups, but two different takes, and that's it. We're moving on. So it's going to be a very fast shoot in that sense. Which means I have to make sure the actors are very well directed beforehand. They know what they're doing. And I've been thinking a lot about, it's one thing to give them internal cues about their character, but it's another thing to give them a physicality. So, okay, will you be swirling your glass? Will you be turning your head a certain way? What exactly are you doing? So those are the types of things that I'm thinking about and trying to pass on to the actors as well. The other thing in terms of my week, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but I no matter how busy your life is, I think you have to find a way to support your friends, especially the ones that mean a lot to you. So, for example, it was my friend Khalil's 30th birthday, and he's someone that I collaborate a lot with. In fact, he's going to be one of the main actors in my feature. And though I'm busy with a lot of this stuff, I made a point to make sure I spent a couple hours at his birthday party. It's one of, this year, I have made it a New Year's resolution to support my friends, because when you hear people like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and kind of that era of directors talk, they always talk about how they were very collaborative, like they would share ideas and so forth. Not, they wouldn't always necessarily work together, but yeah, they had a community of people that were supportive of each other, and they bounced off ideas and so forth. And I want to have that. I think it's a great. I never understood why friends can't support each other's friends' success, and just because a friend is succeeding doesn't mean you are not. Even if you're not necessarily involved in that quote unquote success, that doesn't mean you're not becoming successful in your own way. You still stand to benefit from the resources, from the knowledge. Eventually, there's this, whatever you can call it, like a cosmic rub-off effect, if you will. But I just truly believe that, and I've seen it, and I'm excited for it. And there's a lot of great things happening in Khalil's life, and he finally, a lot of things that he's been working towards are going to come to fruition. It's still going to be a grind. Things are happening in my life where I'm able to say, hey, let's come up with some ideas. There's this potential opportunity. So I've been having a lot of those various conversations, but it's also because I've kind of put it out there that I want to support my friends, and we're bringing each other together. It's funny. There's a quote. I forgot where I pulled it from, but I heard it just within this past week that the harder you work, the more luck you have. I think it's from YouTube Secrets, the book. Don't necessarily quote me on that, but I'm 95% sure that's where it's from. As I talk it out loud. And I find that to be true. I think the harder, people say, oh, you got lucky. Well, again, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I believe that to be true. What do you think about that quote? Speaking of supporting my friends, big shout out and I guess what would you call it? Happy marriage to Jocelyn Davis. She just got married this weekend. She's someone I've known for a lot of years at this point, and she's an amazing human being, amazing leader. So she finally tied the knot this weekend. So kudos to her. You can, if you're interested, check her out on. She has a channel called Shared Media, and there's also Shared News, or you can just follow at Jocelyn Davis is where you can find her. Speaking of final steps as well, I'm at the final tail end of my nonfiction book, meaning I just got the full cover, so front and back, to review. It looks wonderful. I'm very excited. We're finalizing those details. Sending it off to, I'm going the self-publishing route on this one. So with this book, I want to do the self-publishing route. With my fiction book, I want to do, try to go through a publisher so I can learn both ins and outs of those. So I can educate myself and, maybe ultimately make a decision. Maybe it'll just kind of continue to work that way, or, I'll kind of pick and choose depending on the situation. But in this case, with a nonfiction book, I'm self-publishing, and it's in the final stages. So I'm very, very excited. I work with an editor who's been helping me, so it got fully proofread in terms of everything. And you always kind of need that, right? Whenever you're working on something, you need somebody else's perspective. And I knew there was always going to be a lot of grammar stuff, but luckily, as much as we could, we put in steps to avoid as many of the grammar mistakes as we could. And now I'm not sure exactly when the official release of the book will be, but I'm holding a launch party on November 9th. So I'm excited for that. I've chosen a venue, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm combining it to my birthday party as well, so to celebrate this last year, the 30th year of my life, I want to honor a big accomplishment and really devote it some time. And this book, in weird senses, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like this is no no-brainer, just do it. But in kind of completing it, never really, I don't know, I just never really thought of it as like much of a big thing. But every time I had to do revisions on it, I had to approve like the cover art or certain graphics or the style and various things. And the more I had to actually spend time with it rather than just writing the words, I was like, oh, this is a really big thing. So I'm glad I'm essentially forcing myself to celebrate this book because it is a big accomplishment. It's about 350 pages, and there's a lot there. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it to come out. I'm making, the site is not live yet, but mastermentalfortitude.com is going to be the website for the book. So mastermentalfortitude.com. Again, if you go right now, it's probably not live unless you're checking out this video in the future. But yeah, I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to build that out. The other thing, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but going back to this idea of shooting the feature, I've been studying a lot of famous directors' first-time movies. So like Robert Rodriguez with El Mariachi, and he's got a huge inspiration of mine. I love him. El Mariachi is a movie he made for $7,000, and it launched his career. It looks fantastic. He also wrote a book, Rebel Without a Crew, about the making of it, which has been a huge inspiration for me for a long time. So I'm kind of revisiting that. Christopher Nolan's Following is a fantastic film. It's like 70 minutes. It's black and white, but it has a lot of the Chris Nolan tropes, playing with time and revealing information as time goes on, and nothing's really what it seems, that type of thing. And it's got good music, good pace. So I really enjoyed that one. This weekend I saw Fallen Angels by Wong Kar-wai. And I've seen it before, but it's essentially his follow-up to Chungking Express, which was the inspiration for my feature film. And I'm glad I did it because it gave me some ideas. Not that I want to copy him, but like just how inventive and carefree he really is about, creating the movies that he, at least, Chungking Express and Fallen Angels, is really inspiring, and just making things work and heightening certain moments through cool cinematography and music selection and just creating a mood. Like, he's wonderful at that. And I'm going to be checking out his movie called As Tears Go By. That's the first movie he's ever made, so I'm very interested. I've never actually seen that movie of his. I've seen various movies of his, but never that one. And so, again, in my study of famous directors and their first movies, I'm kind of very intrigued, and I'm excited to see that. And, I guess I'll round out. The other thing that I've been doing is getting through Bob Iger's the Ride of a Lifetime book, which is his, he says it's not a memoir, but it's a memoir of his time working at ABC, had the Disney acquisition, then working for Disney, and then becoming CEO of the Walt Disney Company. I think there's a lot of lessons there. I'm someone who loves business, and I want to kind of learn the ins and outs. But if you're just like a regular film fan and things of that nature, it's a fantastic read about what could have been. Disney and Pixar's initial relationship and how that all developed. The acquisitions of Marvel and Fox and all these different things. Like, it's an insider, they call it inside baseball terminology. Like, it really shows you this world and kind of opens up the curtain. And I'm excited. Like, usually with these things you worry about, like, wow, from his perspective, because he is still the CEO of Walt Disney. You worry about legality of, like, from his perspective, is he revealing too much? Is he saying too overtly positive things? Is he saying too overtly negative things about, people, places, and things? And the nice part is, it feels very honest. Like, I'm sure there's things just legally that had to be crossed out or taken out entirely or altered at the very least. But overall, it feels like a very raw and honest account from his perspective. And it makes me appreciate, not that I thought of him any sort of way, but it makes me appreciate him. But it also makes me appreciate Disney as a company a lot more. So, if nothing else, for better or worse, the PR machine that might be Disney through this book alone has earned some points from me. Anyway, so that's just the recommendation. Bob Iger's The Ride of a Lifetime. So these are the various things that I've been doing and the things that I've kind of gained from it. If there's anything that you would like me to talk about through my various lessons and so forth, by all means let me know, and I'm happy to do so. And also let me know what you find beneficial just through these vlogs. Hopefully there's at least something. Anyway, bye.